Let's move on now. Of course, yesterday's big talking point was the currency, which has continued to move to new lows against the dollar. Weak global cues, rising crude oil prices and selling by foreign portfolio investors, of course, have been key headwinds for the currency as well. 85.77. Yesterday, the currency had moved past 85.80 as well. So what is the way forward for the rupee? We've got Ashhish Vaidya, Managing Director and Head of Treasury and Markets at DBS Bank, joining in for a quick chat. Ashish, morning. Thanks for taking this call. This is what we were grappling with yesterday as well. The pace of the decline of the rupee has actually accelerated in the last couple of sessions. What do you make of it? Are you expecting central bank intervention? But it's not just the Indian rupee. The dollar has been strong internationally. The yuan has been weakening as well. What are the factors at play and what do you see ahead for the next couple of weeks?
Quite right. So I think I'll sort of slightly disagree with you that the pace has actually, while the pace has increased a bit, but it's in line with what the global trends are. So the dollar has been strengthening, especially over the last about a fortnight or so, more so in a stronger manner, and that's what we are seeing. So the entire outcome of what you are seeing in the USD-INR pair is something which is broadly a global trend. And obviously, if you look at it from a portfolio flows point of view and, really not meaningful money coming in the fixed income, I think India continues to face some headwinds. And that's exactly the reason why we are declining, in addition to the fact that the global trend of the dollar is also very strong. In fact, the index has actually moved up from 103, 104 levels to 108, 109. And I think till the Trump presidency takes over, the kind of market sentiment that is sort of continuing, I think the dollar strength will continue for some time.
Okay, so any immediate levels, Ashish? I mean, I don't know, is 86 a given?
I don't think we should say that it's a given. I think broadly you have to look at why the dollar, especially the pair of USD-INR, are really weakening, right? If you see, there's been reasonable amount of intervention from the central bank, and broadly, we have a forward position. The Reserve Bank has a forward position of about 40 billion in the onshore markets, and there is some outstanding positions in the offshore as well. So technically, we are somewhere lower than 600. If I want to be a little magnanimous on our reserves, while optically it obviously looks at about 640. So the pressure is there, and the fact that we are a current account deficit country, I think the pressure will continue. If you're asking me to give a range for the next maybe about 15-20 days, I think broadly I would think anywhere between 85.5 to 86 quarter, 86.5 levels. Because the dollar is, to my mind, going to gain further strength in the next few days.
Ashish, hi, good morning. Actually, the dip that we've seen in the dollar last night, it kind of is very similar to what we had back in 2016, 2017, right? I mean, early days of Trump, right before the inauguration, there was a sharp sell-off in the dollar.
Absolutely.
So maybe in the very near term, there is more to go here, right, on the downside, as he takes over and then, of course, policies are enacted and then, of course, there is dollar strength, as you put it. From an Indian investor point of view, Ashish, rupee was at 84 at the close of the last quarter. It's where it is now. It's especially, for example, IT services companies. That is straight away a translation gains, right? I mean, it's like a automatic earnings adjustment, maybe a little bit of revision higher when we hear from these companies at the end of the quarter.
No, obviously, I think this is positive for the export sector, and I think that's probably what is playing out in the market as well. I think fairly the IT is resilient. I think important point to note is last time, the last Trump presidency preceded by about 8% appreciation of the dollar index, followed by a 15% depreciation. But the tariff discussions came in the second half of his presidency. The point here is that this time, the tariff discussions are upfront. So we don't know whether the appreciation is going to be, about 8-9%, depends on how really the fundamentals play out. But this time it could be a little bit more bloated, and we'll have to actually see what exactly are the outcomes in terms of policies when the Trump presidency takes over. The market is therefore going to wait for some time. So, typically in India, you would have seen fresh allocations coming in the first quarter of the calendar year. But this time probably get pushed back simply because there is a need for clarity as to how the global fund managers would want to invest.
I mean, usually first 20 days, we see that. Ashhish, sorry, that 8% and 15% number that you gave, that is 8% appreciation of the dollar before Trump took over in 2017, January 2017,
yes. So basically,
and then 15% fall after he took over.
Yes. So basically, he got elected in November. He took over presidency on 20th, but till 17th, the appreciation continued. And just before his presidency, the depreciation started. But this time, it's accompanied by tariff discussions. So I'm not sure exactly how this will play out, but this will be a little longer play out. And the volatilities, I think, will increase.
Is there in the currency, in the forex market, on the equity side, there is a little bit of a fear about a growth scare in that sense, right? I mean, is there, are we in a bit of a fix here, a bit of a flux? Is that a big factor, a big topic of conversation? Ashish?
I'm not sure about what the equity market is sort of anticipating, but from a fixed income point of view and the way we look at the macros, I think broadly growth is sort of slowing down. The fact that the government expenditure has been lesser and the fiscal is sort of much more well managed by the government. But the fact is that the government expenditure is falling short of what the market has anticipated. That really brings in the growth slowdown. So I think it's in bits and pieces. We'll have to wait and watch whether the expenditure revives again. It's early days, but I think it's slowing down.
Okay, all right. Ashish got that. Thanks very much for weighing in. Let's see how the next couple of days play out for the dollar and, of course, the rupee as well as we move up to the inauguration date. Thanks for joining in.